lower rates is a huge. There are three things that I think could help housing. Lower rates, obviously, number one. Number two, increasing supply, and that's what I'm going to talk to in a bit. And the three is changing zoning and regulations around accelerating the approval process of building. And I think all three of those things are being worked on and could be supportive of housing, at some point this year. But
Hmm.
it's hard to see how that's going to have a big impact over the next 1 or 2 quarters. So right now, I'm still fairly negative on the home builders. Um, but let me talk to some data just to support my concerns about housing. The first chart, Jen, if you can put up, is housing starts, which were reported this morning. And housing starts came in at an annual rate of 1.48 million. This is a long-term chart, so you can get some historical perspective. 1.48 million starts is still sort of in recessionary levels if you look back at history. Um, so, from a long-term perspective, it's not a strong number, but from a very short-term perspective, it actually is an improving number. It's up 4% from the December starts. It was better than expected. I think expectations were 1.34 million. Now, this is for January. We had mortgage rates, I think, down around 6% in January, which would have encouraged starts. Um, so if housing starts continue to work their way back up to the 1.6 million, that would be encouraging, Robert. So here's a stat that is starting to improve, and we'll see if it continues to improve. I wonder if starts, in February and March roll down again because we've had mortgage rates here, at least certainly here in March, move back up to 6.25.
Hmm.
So anyway, the next slide is a number that was reported recently, and that's existing home sales. And you can see, they're around 4.09 million of existing home sales. That was a 1.7% increase. And again, if you look at the last couple of years, it's not showing a lot of progress in terms of sales. So it's not stimulating home building products companies like First Builder Source or Owens Corning or Mohawk. Um, and you'd have to get up to 6 million annual rate to really be in a robust housing sales market.
Hmm.
But the start of this year has been better than people expected. So at the margin, maybe things are improving and home builders are getting more optimistic, and buyers are becoming more finding more availability of product, and therefore starting to creep back into the market. It is a buyer's market, no question about it. Last slide, and then I'll end my comments on housing there. This shows the existing home sales data in the white columns. The salmon colored columns are the new home sales data. We're lagging on getting that data because of the government shutdown. But we should get, some new home sales data next week, I think on the 19th of March. Um, and, it'll be interesting to see what that shows. There was some, optimism that the home builders were starting to see improved sales, although that's as a result of increasing incentives. A couple of line items on the top that are worth pointing out is if you go sort of towards the right column, unsold inventory, it's 1.29 million units, which is equal to 3.8 months of supply. So inventory is picking up, and that's positive for home sales because it gives more choice and starts to create a more of a buyer's market. And in addition, the affordability index, which again reflects when mortgage rates were down around 6%, has improved dramatically. So there are reasons to be optimistic. I'm not buying the home builders here. If anything, I'd be buying the building products companies. But the home builders just right now just don't interest me. I'll end by just pointing out the reason I wanted to highlight some of this data is we get a lot of home building data next week. So on Monday we get the NAHB, which is the National Association of Home Builders Sentiment Index. That's been in the 30s, which is where it was in 2006, 2007, going into the '08 crisis on mortgage-backed securities.